And on today's show, how to prepare your office for a lead campaign. Part 3 of this week's series on prospecting through lead generation with CEO Tom Carolan of Parasol Leads, the 2014 winner of the Best Lead Quality Award. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician in Innsmouth. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to the show, day 3, Tom.
Thank you, Steve.
How you doing? Day 3.
Doing very well.
You're in the saddle now. You're pretty well. Tom, I mentioned this yesterday. I want to mention it again today. You know, you started out in like 2000, 2001. You actually started out building an agency.
Right.
And you needed to get leads to your agents. And you started to develop this over the internet and try to figure out how to do this and doing mailers, internet leads, all kinds of different tactical areas. And somehow, some way, this grew into a big business.
It did. We created a lot of online properties and they were very successful, and that's the direction we took.
Yesterday's show, you said thousands of leads, thousands coming in every day from consumers all over the country.
Looking for insurance, looking for financial products.
And looking for somebody to talk to.
Speak
now,
to.
This amazes me because we have so many people saying, Steve, I just can't imagine all these leads you guys are generating out of this product, how you guys do it. And when you won this award, this National Quality Award that I alluded to at the front end of the show, they look at all these things, your conversion rate, your quality of lead, your demographics. I mean, they're looking at all these things.
Well, they're talking to advisors. They're gathering information from advisors nationwide, and they're compiling all of that data that the advisors are giving to determine those awards.
Well, when we talk about preparing your office, I'm trying to think, what systems do I need in place? You know, before I even buy a lead, before I even check out my demographics, what do I need? What infrastructure do I need in my office to be able to put together a very integrated campaign that actually will work?
Well, you need to start right at the base. You need to make sure you have good products and a wide variety of products. Because remember, you're going to be getting consumers from all walks of life, and you want to be able to help as many as you possibly can. So you want a good portfolio of products to offer.
So if I have what happens when I'm like I'm a narrow product line, I'm a single shingle seller, you know, I really don't have a potpourri here to product lines to pull from. You find that as a consumer detriment.
That is that's detrimental to your practice and the consumer. You don't have options for that consumer, therefore conversion rates will be lower.
So, and of course this sounds self-serving for me to say this, but that's why I like the mercenary world of brokerage, because we basically have access to everything.
Right.
And I think that helps an agent and an advisor say, I know I can go to a big marketing organization like ours, like our sponsor, and get this kind of information. So when we're talking about this, tell me, I know I want to do this now. We talked about yesterday, I'm going to do an 80-20 mix. No, I'm sorry, 60-40, I think was what you said. I'm going to do some shared leads. I'm going to do some exclusive leads. But before I get ready, I want to prep my office. What am I doing?
Do you know how you're going to speak to the consumer? What are you going to say to the consumer? Do you have follow-up systems in place?
All right. Do I need something in front of me then while I'm online with them? Maybe talking points. Maybe not a script.
Maybe not a script.
But a talking points.
Maybe
so I can
information you want to gather from them. You might want that in front of you.
Might have a data collector.
You might.
And you want that all up front right away. What about, I'm curious now. I have a person who says, Steve, I'm really busy. I want to engage in leads. I'm going to have my support personnel make this call. Good or bad?
Good decision in my mind, as long as they're well trained.
Okay, if they're just trying to set an appointment, is that not what we're trying to get done here?
What we're trying to do is we're trying to get to the point. We're trying to get to the point where we understand what the consumer needs, what they need, how can we help them, and that's the green light.
Does the consumer want to set an appointment though, or does the consumer want to talk to this guy and get the advisor and get this answer?
Every consumer is different. I mean, some consumers are going to want to get to an appointment. Some consumers are going to want to get more information before they get to an appointment.
All right, but I guess I'm thinking, if I'm an advisor and I'm going to say I'm buying 100 leads and I'm going to have my gal call, or my guy, my support personnel, I'm going to have them call and I'm going to have them set up all my appointments. I have found, and I'm just giving you my 2 cents. I have found that to be guys, you know, they really want to talk to an advisor and kind of get the lay of the land in the way you communicate on the first contact. And I think it's really important, if you're really going to spend money on this, that you really need to kind of make this call. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
Okay, well, because I'm just saying, I know different guys use telemarketing and so forth, but I have found that first contact, if first impressions mean anything, and especially in an ADD world we're living in, this makes a big deal difference. And so I just want to exhort all my advisor and all our colleagues, really, when you get on the phone, I have my script ready, my talking points, I have my data collector ready. I want to be able to bounce to any resource that I have. I use one of our sponsors, Background Technician. I have it already open so that I can say, oh, so I have a doc on that. I'll send that to you. Information I can send to them. It's already compliance approved, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You need those systems in place so that you can get the best results out of the marketing campaign.
Okay, so I'm willing to make the call. I'm willing to put my data collector, my data, my information, my talking points up. Now I want to be able to say anything else in my office that I need to set up to really be ready to go to this campaign.
Well, yeah, you need to be ready. What if you have consumers that you probably can't help? What if there are just certain situations that you cannot help them? In those situations, it would be great to have a referral partner in place so that you could refer those people. If you can identify a segment of the population that you cannot help and then find a referral partner that can help them.
We come back, we're going to talk about how to integrate a well-funded campaign, because it's not just buying leads, it's all together. What kind of number am I laying down? What kind of check am I writing for a real composite campaign that'll really work? We'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Back in the day, life insurance professionals were called field underwriters. Then, carriers trained their field force in the basics of life insurance underwriting. Today, the insurance industry doesn't educate the agent population as they once did. But now you can have the Informed Risk Guide at your fingertips so you can illustrate a reasonable rate class for your life insurance prospects. Just request your copy of the Informed Risk Guide at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. It's free from Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to segment 2. We're talking with Tom Carolan. Not only did you start an agency, but this agency blew into this whole lead generation system. And now your company has this award that was just awarded to you guys in January, the 2014 Best Quality Award. It was really tremendous for your practice. When we're talking about, I always think about this way, what is a well-funded campaign? You know, how much am I going to lay down? If I have, let's say I'm even intelligent enough to actually develop a budget for my entire year. It's going to be what I'm actually spending on campaigns. I'm not talking about what I do free on social media. I'm talking about I'm going to spend it. Now, if I start spending it and I want to do a concerted campaign, really laser on this, what could I look at a month? What could I carve out on a month if I really wanted to generate some serious revenue? Am I looking at $100 a month? Am I looking at $500 a month? What have you seen? There's a range where you hit a kind of a saturation point. You bought too many. Is there a range where you say, this is kind of like the wheelhouse right here? What is that?
Well, it depends on the volume that your agency can handle. That's
well, let's go one-on-one. Let's just say we have an advisor.
An advisor.
Right.
And I have to ask, will certain products require a different set of rules when communicating with the consumer? I think that you got to be thinking in terms of $500 to $1,000 per month. You have to be, but you have to spread that among many different or a few different types of marketing. You can't put all of that.
Can I be more specific?
Sure.
All right. In our viewership, there's really 4 major product lines represented. You have life insurance, you have annuities, you have long-term care, and you have DI. There's some little bit of medical, some potpourri of final expense, but our bulk is right in that wheelhouse. And out of those 4 macro product lines, we have really 2 that are really players, life and annuities. So if I'm putting life and annuities, would you change that number, but based on that, what you just told me?
I would raise it, definitely. And I would raise it. I would probably, ideally, I think that, if they could be in the $2,500 to $5,000 range per month, that would be a very nice place to be, and you could really generate some revenue there.
All right, but let's just talk about, because that's a shock and awe number for a lot of guys. Just saying, hey, you're telling me to throw $50,000, $60,000 on a campaign like that, and I'm going to try to be, and I'm targeting a conversion rate of somewhere around 20 to 30%. Okay, so I have to get. Am I looking at 2 times what I paid, 3 times what I paid, 4 times? What kind of ratio should I expect? Because if I'm going to shell out, that's a lot of money for guys. And so if they're going to go ahead and put 50 grand down, am I going to look at 150 grand? The old days in the seminar, we used to say, hey, for every dollar, you should be looking at 3 to 1. I put 10 grand down for a big campaign. We went to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. We had all these people show up. I did my dog and pony show. I'm looking for 3 to 1. What are we looking at when I'm putting 50 grand down? Because I'm willing to do the volume.
With high
spend
quality
the money,
exclusive.
high quality leads, exclusives. What am I looking at?
I've had various different feedback from different people. I've heard one number sticks out in my mind, and that is for every $500 spent, you receive 7,000 in annual volume, life volume. I've seen another advisor said that he saw a 700% return on investment. On the low end, 2 to 1. 2 to 1.
I want to go back to what we said yesterday and the day before. Listen, we have a formula here. If you don't break formula and you try to stay within the confines of how leads really work, especially hitting the phone immediately and so forth, and we look at this, I'm looking at, you're saying the lower end could be down at 2 to 1. I put in.
If you have a high quality
Right,
exclusive
high quality.
and you know how to work that lead.
Right. Well, we want to know how to work that lead because
Right.
if we're going to lay down serious money, I want to know the mechanics, the methodologies, the approach. And when Tom puts this together, you're just one of many companies, but I like the way you put it approach. I mean, when I see your package and I know this is how I need to respond, and if I obey the formula, I guess I don't mind to be pedantic here, but I think you need to kind of obey the formula. You guys have figured this out. And for us to break formula and customize it, tailor it to our own needs, that's where we get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. And you need to be honest with yourself and accept the fact that I'm either going to follow this formula or I'm not.
Well, when I'm looking at following, I want to follow the formula because I want my money to actually give me a return. And I feel like when we lay down certain rules of engagement are so important. And that's why I want to be able to knock those out and exactly salute the flag. Just go right down and say, I did that, whatever chronology I have to do it in, because I want my money that I'm laying out to have a great return. Even at 2 to 1, right? Even at 2 to 1. And remember, how many of our actual leads actually spin off into referrals?
If you're following the formula, and if you begin with a very high quality lead and you follow the formula, an individual agent doesn't need to be working the volume that he does otherwise. So the volume goes down. You don't need the volume. What you're doing is you're providing a better service to that consumer. You're working that lead the way it needs to be worked. So your volume goes down, but the results go up.
I know that this is a difficult question, but what would you say in general is a exclusive lead cost in the general sense versus a shared lead cost?
That's a difficult question.
I know, that's why I brought it to you. It's on our show.
Exclusive, you for life, you need to be probably thinking in the $30 range. And then for an annuity, they can be anywhere from $100 to $250.
So they're much more expensive. And those are both of those exclusive leads we're talking about?
Correct.
Okay, well, there's a kind of a number that you can kind of bank on. Tomorrow we're going to talk about it so much more. We're going to add some more to your plate so you have a greater understanding. That's all the time we have for today's show. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just go out and view any of our past episodes at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.